Welcome, my friends, to the kitchen of Ebony Ivy and Thyme. I love having you here, and I hope that you will relax and watch this show till the very end because there's a lot going on in the kitchen and a lot to talk about. So let's get started. Today's recipe is really a labor of love because it has quite a few steps and quite a few ingredients. But if you have something special coming up or you just want it for the weekend, this is a great dish. And your family will go, "Ooh, you did this." It's that kind of dish. So we're going to put together some gumbo. And gumbo takes a little time. So let's get it done. Now, we are using things that are in the freezer. And the reason for that is because it's that time of the year. Not only am I going to be decluttering things here in the kitchen, but I'm also going to be going through my pantry and going through my freezer and my refrigerator, trying to make sure that I use things before they are past their prime. So that's one of the things that we're doing today. So we're starting today's gumbo. You always have to have a good start. So I'm actually starting with a rotisserie chicken, and that has been in the freezer because I like to purchase those and I like to place them in the freezer so that I will have them when I need them. So we're taking our frozen rotisserie chicken. You notice I had it right here in the package. And I love going to Costco and purchasing rotisserie chickens because every now and then you can really catch them at a great price. And in fact, most days they're at a great price. So our rotisserie chicken's in. I'm going to fill this up with water. I've got my pot on high heat. I'm going to place a top on it so that it's going to come to a boil pretty quickly. But we're going to boil this baby down for a little while. And over in this pot, we're going to make our roux. Let your pot get nice and hot. And I'm going to be using olive oil and butter. So I'm going to start with really enough olive oil to cover the bottom of this pan. All right, then I'm going to add some butter, and then we'll add an equal amount of flour. Okay, let's put our butter in, and I'm going to let all of that liquefy. Turn it down just a little bit because at this point we don't want it to burn. Now to that I'm going to add some flour. I'm going to add about a half cup. And let me get the spurtle because this is a labor of love. This is where that labor of love comes in, because what we're going to have to do is that we're going to have to stand here and we're going to have to stir until this roux is a beautiful chocolate. Now, not dark chocolate, more of a milk chocolate color. So we just have to be patient with it and stir. And it will turn. It will start to brown. It's going to cook and it's going to darken. Now we don't have it on extreme high heat, and the reason for that is because of the fact that I'm using olive oil rather than just a regular either Wesson oil or Crisco oil. I'm using my olive oil. So I'm going to keep the temperature reasonable and let this cook. And you can see it's very creamy, but it's very light. And we want it to darken. So I'll bring it back in when it's a little closer to brown. Now, this has been going about 15 minutes, and I hope you can see the difference in the color. Let's see if I can hold you up a little closer so you can see how nice and brown it is. Okay, that's exactly, I think I might let it get just a little bit darker, but not too much. But that's a nice milk chocolate brown. I'll let it go just a little bit more. Whew. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. All right, I'm going to take that off the fire for a little while. Our broth is going over here, and what I'm going to start to do is to get another large pot, and we're going to start it here. I have the nice Dutch oven that's here, another one, and in this Dutch oven I'm going to add all of that roux. All of that in. I needed more space. I know I could have done it this way to begin with. What was I thinking? But anyway, we've got it done. Let me get a spatula and get all of this goodness out. All of that out. Okay. All right. Now you know I have nice hot water over there. All right, now what we're going to do is that we're going to start to add our aromatics. We're going to put in some peppers and onions and celery. All of that's going to go in. It's 2 cups of peppers, onions, and just peppers and onions, a combination. I'm also going to add in some celery. And we're going to let these start to cook. I'm going to turn the fire down just a little bit because in a little while we're going to start to add some of that broth that's cooking off of our chicken. But before we do that, we need some seasoning. Now I'm going to be adding, I'm trying to see which one. Okay, that one's newer. Oh. All right, I'm going to add some Creole sauce, Creole seasoning. I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony Ivy Thyme. And I am so glad to have you right here in the kitchen with me. Now, if you just happened upon the channel, then I hope you'll stay. I hope you'll watch to the end because that's what I ask. And you know, that's what the YouTube gurus just love. And so I hope you'll stay here with us. Now, what I really hope is that once you see this dish, that you will make it your own and that you will come back, because we're doing these kinds of things all the time. Now, most of the time the dishes are not quite as involved and they're a little easier to do. And I have to say that today's dish really is rather budget friendly, even though it involves quite a few ingredients. Now I'm going to start to add a little bit of that liquid into our vegetables. Put 3 ladles of that into our vegetables. Okay? So I'm going to flip this chicken over. Let's remember, we're using a chicken that had already been cooked. So we're not cooking it from scratch. We're just warming it up, thawing it out. Whew. Nice and hot. I'm going to have to work on this. Okay, I broke up that chicken, and I'm just giving all of this a stir. You can see how pretty and brown it is. I think I'm going to bring you just a tad bit closer so that you can really get an eye for what we're doing. Now, there are a couple of things that I haven't done yet that we will do. You see how this is just making a really nice thick paste. I'm adding more chicken broth in. And you know a large portion of that chicken is going to go into this. We're going to serve this over rice. So we'll get that rice ready later. And oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's good. Now, I think I'm going to add another teaspoon of our gumbo seasoning. I don't want to get too crazy with it. The nice thing about gumbo is the fact that it's a very flexible recipe. You know, you can put whatever mix of proteins into gumbo that you like. So like chicken, sausage, shrimp, crab, duck, or even just regular fish. You can add to your gumbo because it's so versatile and adaptable. Gumbo originated in Louisiana. In fact, it's the official dish of Louisiana. And you know, it really symbolizes the state because the state of Louisiana is a true melting pot. And when I say that, that means that this particular dish pulls in the diversity of Africa, of France, of Spain, and also our Native Americans. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is good. Now, all right. This is what we need to do. I've got some more protein that's going to be going in, so let me get this started. Now, in my skillet, I've got the fire on. We're going to add some smoked andouille sausage, as well as some sweet Italian style sausage. So, let me get these open. We're going to get them into the skillet, and we're going to get those browned. Gumbo is the perfect dish, the perfect recipe to prepare in large batches. And very often in Louisiana, it's served during festivals and family gatherings or community events because of the fact that it emphasizes its role in bringing people together. The great thing about gumbo is the fact that it actually tastes better the next day. And so this is a great make ahead dish. I want you to see how nice and brown these are going to get. They're going to have lots of little brown bits on the bottom. And we're just taking our time. I don't have it on an extremely high heat, but I want there to be a little charring on each piece of those sausages. So we've got all of that done. I've also taken a large portion of the chicken off the bone and I've added it into our large mixture. So we're going to add the sausage in just a few moments, and then we'll be ready to move on. Okay, you can see we've got all of our chicken in. I'm going to add a full can of fire roasted tomatoes that have been diced. One full can. And I'm going to add a touch of tomato paste to it as well. Our sausages are ready. We take those off the fire. We're going to add those in because all of this is going to need to cook and to come together so that it tastes very homogeneous. So there we go. You see all of our sausage going in. Woo, that's real warm. All right. Good stir. I love the consistency. Now, like I said, if you decide that you want to add more veggies, you can certainly do that. But I'm looking at this and I have a little more celery. I think I'll go ahead and add that in. And like I said, I'm going to put in just a touch of tomato paste. All right, I'm adding in about a tablespoon of tomato paste. Now I'm going to let all of this cook for about the next hour. And then the last 15 minutes, I'm going to add some shrimp. I happen to have shrimp in the freezer as well. So remember, everything, to be honest with you, except the celery, came out of the freezer. So this is a great way to be able to cook from one of your 4 pantries, of which your freezer is one of those pantries where you store quite a bit of food. Now let me get a spoon. Oh yeah, that's delicious. If you decide you want to add more Creole sauce to it, you can certainly do that. I think I may add a little more garlic into the mix since it's going to be cooking for another hour. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of garlic. That's 1, 2. Garlic's going to make all of this come together. Now, other than adding the shrimp and making the rice, dinner is on the stove, and I may add just a tad bit more. If I still have some broth down here at the bottom, I'll go ahead and add the rest of that broth. That's pretty good. So this is number 4. 4 teaspoons of Tony Checker's Creole sauce, Creole seasoning. I'll see you in 1 hour. The top is on. Budget-friendly gumbo is going to be one that you're going to watch prepare all the time, and you certainly can do that. It's just a matter of keeping some of those ingredients in your freezer so you can take them out and use them whenever you like. And the nice thing about those ingredients is that they're pretty multi-purpose, so you can use them for other meals as well. So it's not that you're locked into a particular ingredient for only one recipe, which is always a money saver. Now, today we prepared this gumbo. We did it by using things that were in our pantry. The rice that we're going to serve it over was already in the pantry. We took a rotisserie chicken and we made the broth that we needed for our gumbo. We took some olive oil and a little bit of butter and a little bit of flour, and we made the roux. And of course, the aromatics, we keep those in the refrigerator all the time. So, and in fact, very often they're already prepped and in the freezer. So those are things that we can have already so that we can always have a good meal on the table. I added shrimp into our gumbo. And certainly you can decide whether that's a seafood that you'd like to add into your gumbo. You could certainly do this gumbo without seafood at all. You could do more of a chicken gumbo, or you can do a gumbo with perhaps chicken and sausage. Whatever your particular protein selection, you can make that choice. This recipe is very adaptable, and you can certainly use these flavors to put together lots of fun Louisiana dishes. So, our gumbo is ready. I'm going to serve it up, and we're going to give it a taste. I have my rice, and I'm going to put the rice in the bottom of the bowl, or you can actually put the gumbo in. I think I'll do it one way and one the other, and then we can make a decision on which one we like. All right, so for this one, we're going to start with the gumbo. And I want to make sure I have some of everything. That I've got some of the shrimp, that I've got some of the sausage, I've got some of everything. And then I'm going to add our rice in the center. So let me see. I think I'll use a scoop. And that allows us to put the rice right there in our bowl. I like the way that looks, as well as I like being able to put the rice in first. This is the big guy's. He likes his rice in first. So I have his rice in first, and then I'm going to make a well and add all the goodies. And for those of you who have followed me, you know the big guy likes, he likes his protein, but he also likes a lot of the broth. So we're going to add quite a bit to his. So we have the broth and we have everything there. Now I'm going to top it with just a little bit of green onions. So let's get those. Now we'll garnish with some green onions. There we go. Now, mine and the big guys, ready to go. I hope that you will take the time to try this gumbo. And you know, that Tony Checkers that I purchased, I didn't just purchase it for this dish. I purchased it for several, and it stays in my pantry all the time. So keep that in mind. Have a good selection in your pantry. Have lots of good spices that you use in your spice drawer. I hope you'll enjoy yourself, and I hope you'll come back to the kitchen. See you soon. Mwah.